And hello, welcome to another edition of Days of the Wolf. It is Wednesday, September 26, 2018. This is D Wolf coming at you live somewhere from a secret location within the Northwest. Today's stories, kind of some interesting ones going on, and they're a little, both of them are cryptocurrency and blockchain related. Let me find them up. Fire them up really fast. Okay. The U.S. government has spent millions trying to track cryptocurrency users, specifically the IRS. You know, they want to find those tax evaders, and they want to make sure that they're paying their fair share. It's very interesting how the the government is actually going after people don't don't really want to affiliate with the the U.S. dollar. They just want to deal with cryptocurrency. So it's clear that the IRS sees value in cryptocurrency. The government, quite frankly, doesn't know how to regulate it. But they're trying very hard. And this article, there's a research article from DAR reports that the U.S. agencies have collectively spent 5.7 million hiring contractors who perform blockchain analysis, which involves linking an individual's ID to their crypto funds. Now, I find this a little bit difficult to kind of comprehend if you haven't submitted KYC, know your customer information, to a particular exchange, because they kind of have it already and they can just subpoena. But I guess they're going to kind of to a deeper level of analytics to try to figure out what's actually going on. Now, there are tools, specifically the Lightning Network, and particular cryptocurrencies, such as Monero, and there are others, Zcash and stuff, that purport users to send funds anonymously. Now, remember that Bitcoin is semi-anonymous or pseudo-anonymous. There are still there's still a level of traceability to the eWallet address going to and from. Now, what the analytics of chain analysis, which is the IRS's main system of trying to figure out who owns what wallets. And I went through this before, that it's like, well, we're dealing on a digital interface now, so it's like who owns what is very subjective. But I suspect that they will be utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning to get enough of those points of reference in the pseudo anonymous coinage of Bitcoin, the core Bitcoin. And I'm not even talking about other altcoins and stuff. If you've submitted your KYC, know your customer information, to an exchange, well, that's a data point clearly that they can utilize, because you generally have to give some particular type of real world identity information. We went through all this before. Experian, nightmares, and centralized areas where your personal information is a complicated problem. Now, once cryptocurrency user exposes their pseudonyms, cryptocurrency address to a service or an individual who could identify it as belonging to their real world identity, they would run the risk of having their entire wallet, and generally any other of their wallets which have had been transacted upon, exposing it as belonging to them. Once once blockchain forensics expert takes the time to actually go through all the aggregate data to kind of guesstimate best estimate if that wallet is truly owned or controlled or something in between. Again, we have this level of vagary because we're dealing with wallets that don't really have any identity. It's just a wallet to do a transaction, and there's not like a name attached to it unless you go through a hot wallet and you've submitted your know your customer, your credentials, your driver's license and stuff. Then it makes it a lot easier for them to kind of pinpoint you. But if you're a rather sophisticated user and you utilize, you know, different wallets for different transactions, different cryptocurrencies, not just the bitcoins, but Monero and other type of privacy coins and stuff like that, it's going to be really hard for an artificial intelligence to kind of definitively tie you to any particular wallet. I'm not saying it's impossible, because if they do utilize machine learning and artificial intelligence, they're going to be able to see things on levels that you can't really see. But the base thing is, and what we know about machine learning and artificial intelligence, the information that you give a learning algorithm, the primed data, is what it will go with. It will just, okay, we have this data, and that is the truth as far as we know, and we're just going to kind of refine it. If contrary data comes in, it might make it a lot more complicated. Now, frequently, these privacy lapses occur when a user deposits or withdraws funds at a cryptocurrency exchange that requires users to undergo an identity verification, a KYC mandate, in order to utilize the exchange. Though they may also be a result of posting cryptocurrency addresses online under their actual physical real name, or some type of pseudonym that's kind of easily identifiable, like a first name, first initial, last name, or even transacting with someone who has already been unmasked. It's reported that the IRS accounts for 38% of blockchain analytics spending. That's a lot. But unsurprisingly, the top spender among the U.S. government agencies is the Internal Revenue Service, which is responsible for collecting the federal income tax. The IRS has signed 9 contracts with cryptocurrency forensic providers, together worth up just under $2.2 million, representing 38% of their total spending on those particular services. Now, the CNN news last year reported that IRS contracted with blockchain tracing firms to help unmask these investors who have not accurately reported their cryptocurrency investment income on their actual tax returns. And the agency has subsequently ramped up enforcement of alleged violations related to this asset class, which they've defined what cryptocurrencies are going to be, as far as how it's translated into money. Now, they went even as far, and we already know this, to take Coinbase to court in order to force its hand to turn over customer data. This is why it is a legitimate firm. Coinbase is legitimate, but is not dependable. If there's a injunction that forces the hand of a company that you're dealing with to surrender your personal identity, that's a problem. It's a problem. Experian was a problem, and now this is a problem. However, the second largest spender in the U.S. government comes as much more of a surprise. One might expect that either the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, or Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, would be the agency next in line in spending on tracking cryptocurrency use. Instead, the the second largest blockchain analytics client was Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Probably because, it's difficult to get a bank account, if you're an immigrant, or, with not the correct ID, and if you're an immigrant, you're getting paid low wages and stuff like that. Sure, why not shift it into a cryptocurrency, or purchase an altcoin that's privacy based, and you don't have to worry about them coming and seizing any of your money. And of course, they enforce the immigration policies, and also investigate the criminal activities involving foreign nationals living in the U.S. ICE has taken out 9 contracts, totaling about 1.5 million, while the FBI came in third with about 12 contracts at 1.1 million. Meanwhile, the SEC, which polices the securities markets, have filed charges against a variety of cryptocurrency fraudsters, and the initial coin offering ICO operators has spent less than 185,000, not million, 185,000 on tracing these flows. Notably, the spending has ballooned as of late, and as per the report on Chainalysis, the preferred blockchain analysis contractor of the U.S. government has spent 5.3 million, about 93% of the 5.7 million paid out to these firms. So they got the majority of it. And that being said, analysis. There's actually, I think there's very little to worry about this if you're utilizing cryptocurrency. It is possible that they're going to be implementing some type of artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithm to try to connect the dots from a real user that has ownership control of a wallet, and try to tether them to force them to reconcile whatever work that they've put on that cryptocurrency. But as far as my understanding is, the blockchain that Chainalysis is analyzing is the Bitcoin blockchain itself. I do not believe that they have any other expansions to other alt currencies, and they're heavily dependent on KYC implementations and exchanges in order to tag a user to their wallet. Because like I've said before, it's quite possible for a bot to control a wallet. It's quite possible for a non-human entity to do exchanges and exchange shift from cryptocurrency to cryptocurrency, and not even touch the fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. It's a little worrisome if they do utilize artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze the probable likelihood that you own a wallet or you control a wallet. But the fact that they're not spending a lot of money on it, and the fact that there's a lot of more people that either don't want to get their identity taken, they don't want to kind of even deal with the authorities, and there's such a small user base trying to analyze this, but there's a bigger faction of people with the actual cryptocurrency that basically, quite frankly, don't want to be found out. They don't want anything to deal with it. Hey, you want to tax me on Caesar's coin? That's fine, but this is another commodity altogether. The IRS will argue, well, if you're a citizen, pay the fuck up. You have to pay your taxes, and if you want those roads and those cars and that you want to drive on, and the schools that you want to go to and stuff like that. And I'll say this for the record, I have no problem paying my fair share. I do not support monies being put toward wars that are unnecessary. You're not, defending the fort type thing. You're infiltrating and attacking other things. I'm fine with, paying for paving roads, getting decent schools, not the bullshit schools that we have, the indoctrination centers, but decent schools. You know, if you want me to pay my fair share with that, that's fine, not a problem. But quite frankly, the IRS is an extortion racket, and there are other ways of collecting revenue to facilitate a civilization. Extorting people and hounding them, is not a way. Taking away all their assets so they have no way of defending themselves in a court will make them win 99.8% of all the cases, while the defendant just has to kind of deal with accounts that have been frozen, seized, liened, all that, and they need to borrow money from friends and family. And from what I know about borrowing money from friends and family, that doesn't fly very well for very long. Usually there's some enmity kind of built up between them. Cryptocurrency allows an option for you, the person with the cryptocurrency, to voluntarily surrender. To voluntarily, yeah, I'll give you a portion of that because it's a good investment for me to put in cryptocurrency for a school or for a road or for teaching the kids and stuff like that, or health benefits and stuff like that. But I will not voluntarily give you money to go to some God knows some country outside of the realm that I have no interest in, and that you fucked up, to such a mangled proportion, blowing up all their buildings so you can kind of cover the cost of war. Sorry, I'm not into the prison industrial complex. I'm not into the warfare complex, and it's not that I don't feel right about defending our borders, but, incarcerating people just because there's a market for it, and putting people to war because there's a market for it doesn't fly in my book. So you might be a little, worrisome about AI and artificial intelligence being able to kind of discern if you own a wallet or not. But there are precursor things that you can do to make sure that doesn't happen. The first thing is kind of counterintuitive, is just don't submit KYC information. Pretty obvious, if you put your name, John Hancock, on there, you will be liable for these things. If they come after you for whatever reason, it doesn't have to be a legitimate reason. They can freeze your assets without having any type of due process, So just don't put your name out there. And if you do, just remember that your name's out there and it's the hot wallet is attached to your real name. So whatever transactions that you do within that exchange that holds that hot wallet, the trace is on, and they can eventually kind of figure out, where these numbers are being shifted to. Also realize there's a general adversarial network component in machine learning. So let's say the IRS wants to kind of trace to find out who the owners and stuff are of a particular wallet. The other side is the general adversarial network, which is making points to counter that point, to make wallets more obfuscated, to make them more concealed. And the human intellect is kind of limited in that capacity, but an AI versus an AI to constantly battle each other. The one's trying to find out who owns what. The other one's trying to actually obfuscate and, conceal your transactions and stuff. And the thing is, the government doesn't have exclusive power in artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's just an algorithm. It's computer code. There's nothing magical or mystical about it. It's just out there for everybody kind of to deal with. You can go to the GitHub repositories and stuff and experiment with them on your own. The application on how you actually work it is is a little bit of a mind taxing deal. But other than that, they're going to fight. They're going to throw an AI against another AI. Some people are going to say, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to be very super secretive, and I'm not going to do." I wouldn't trust the human folly of that. I would just program an AI to be the counterpoint to that, the general adversarial network, the GAN. Let that do the fucking work for you. You don't have to think about it. Let the AI do it. They're using AI. You fight your fire with the fire. And so they'll be locked kind of in a perpetual state of, one AI is getting an edge, then the other AI gets the edge, and the other AI gets the edge, and then the other AI gets the edge. Eventually, it'll be indiscernible. They wouldn't know which way is up. So they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing this. Just leave the cryptocurrencies alone. But they won't. They can't. Their empire is falling, and they know it. The dollar is potentially going to collapse. When things don't work quite the way the SEC or the Federal Reserve wanted them to work for all these years. And, serves them right. There was the housing crisis, that rendered legitimate people homeless. Now you could argue, okay, well, they got into houses they couldn't afford. Maybe. Okay, that's probably a case for some of it, but not all of it. And, maybe it's just the greed of the banks and stuff. Now they're losing their power, and they just cannot stand it. Anyway, that was the big story on the first thing. The other one is going a little long on this, but I think it's kind of worth it because we're dealing with money. The other one is Google is ending its cryptocurrency ad ban for certain types of ads, and that would be more along the lines of ads that are established exchanges, legitimate exchanges. So it's not like for everybody. They're still kind of making sure that the shysters kind of stay out of this, and it's really sad that the shysters are involved with this in the first place. We wouldn't need government intervention if the ICO players would just be on the up and up. But, people start losing money. Now their situation starts getting real. And remember, we're still in this transition period between, you still kind of have to at least initially buy cryptocurrencies or at least exchange services or products for it. But generally speaking, there's some type of fiat involved in the acquisition of it, at least initially. And once you have it, you can probably trade smartly, and when one dips down, you can sell that out and buy a altcoin that's surging up and stuff, and not even pull it out for fiat. And that's where another artificial intelligence algorithm can come in and kind of detect those predictions. Anyway, that's all I really had for this morning, Wednesday, 26 September in 2018. If you liked my little vblog, and please feel free to smash the likes and give a comment down below. And this is D Wolf signing out.